So that's both rods set for the day. I'm down here at one of my local day ticket venues where it's actually pretty chilly today after a lot of wet and miserable but pretty mild weather the last few weeks. It's dropped off really cold. It's another de-ice the van jobby this morning, but I'm not going to complain when finally we're getting to see that lovely warm glowing ball in the sky, which is the sun, which makes a change to be out filming in the sun. So we're going to be talking about the R4 alarms. Yet again, I hear you saying, because we have done quite a lot of videos on various different Nash alarms, whether that be the R3s, which I used for many, many years, and then I jumped to the R4s, and we've also since then covered the R3 pluses and the R2s, and we've filmed some people at Nash on why they think, obviously, fairly biased on why they think that the R4 is the best alarm on the market, but that was also a giveaway. So that's another reason why, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads coming from us, because some of these videos do include giveaways. And I'm afraid today's doesn't, because this is my personal set of R4s. And as I said, I'm very hopeful that they'll go off today, but just in case they don't, here's a little refresher of what they sound like going full chat. Well, the result of that fairly epic bite was a pretty awesome fish as well. It was a low 20 ghost carp. Now, ghost carp aren't everyone's cup of tea, I'm aware, but for me, on that session, it was the icing on the cake. It was one of the fish that I'd seen all the previous day on the surface, trying to catch it off the top, kept on avoiding my hook bait. So when that finally went into the net the following morning from a bite off the deck, it was definitely carp nil, me one. I did have several fish on that trip, so if you want to watch the full session, check the link in the description below for Fairwood Lakes. It was a catch-up video, and of course, they featured a lot of action of the R4s, and so have pretty much all of my sessions since they came out, because when they came out, they became my personal set, and I used them for many, many years. Now, these may look brand spanking new, and that's because they are. My previous set of R4s, as you may have seen on various different videos, were stolen, along with loads of other kits, so I'm sure they're still going strong with whatever person is currently using them on the bank, but I have to say, these are only 2 sessions old, so they do look very clean, but I can talk at length about my usage of the R4s since using them, because they came out over 2 years ago. I did the video on the R4s, I think the end of 2022? No, 2021 it might have even been. Whenever they came out, I had my hands on them pretty early on, and there's a lot of features on them that were new features compared to the R3s, which were alarms I'd used for ever since they came out, really, and before then I'd used the S5s. I've talked about this at length when I go through one of the other videos on the R4s, because we have covered Siren alarms a lot on this channel. We've done the R3s, then I did the R4s, and then I jumped back to when the R3 pluses came out to see which ones you'd go through between the R3s, the R3 pluses, and the R4s. Luke's also done a video on the R2, so there's lots of different alarms in the Siren range, and they all cater for different anglers, and the R4s, understandably and notably, are going to be the ones that are higher end, so the price point is higher, but also they're packed full of more features than what some of the other alarms on the spectrum don't have. Now, some of the features on here, I've got to say, I have never used, but it's nice to know that they're there. It's a bit like airbags in a car. I hope I never have to use them, or shouldn't ever have to use them, but it's nice to know that if I do ever have an accident, they're there and they're going to save me. And it's the same with some of the features on these alarms, and the main one I'm talking about is the return to home feature on the back of the alarms. There's a little light that pulsates when you go out on a boat, and you take your receiver, you press that, and it means that your light on your alarm starts flashing from the back. So if you've gone out quite a distance in a boat, lowering a rig, or gone out to play a fish, if you're lucky enough for that, and you turn around and the bank is pitch black and you can't see where you need to be guiding yourself back, you hit that on and it's just like a little lighthouse on the bank to guide you back. So that's a feature that I'm yet to use, but I'm sure if I ever had to go abroad and fish on a big pit somewhere and I was using a boat, it would be a nice feature to use in the night, sorry. So that's the main one that I haven't really used. The other one is the wave detection settings. Now, I think I've used it once when it's really, really rough conditions, and that's how you lower the sensitivity down to a point where it can move 15 centimeters or 30 centimeters with no indication on the alarms. But as soon as the line goes past that point, it clicks into full sensitivity, so you know you've got a bite. So if you're fishing somewhere where the waves are lapping at your rods, or you get boats going past on the canal things and your bobbins are going up and down regularly and giving you loads of indication, but you don't want that because you know it's not a fish, you can set it so it doesn't give you that indication, gives you a little bit of peace so you can get some sleep. But when you do get a bite, there's no denying that once that pulls past that 30 or 15 centimeters of line, it's in full pelt and you know you've got a fish on the end. So that's, again, it's something that I haven't really used, but are nice to know then if I needed it, it's there. Now, something that I have used, and it took me a bit of time to get used to, is actually the drop back sound, because we all know the sound of a siren going forwards. Such a lovely sound. As you heard, drop back, there's a different sound. And that's something that took me a while to get used to. Because I'd used sirens for so many years, I'd only ever heard that single tone or whatever pitch I set it on. And that's what I'd known and loved. So when it came to the drop back sounds, it took a while for me to get used to it, but I have to say, sound aside, I'm now used to that and love the sound, and it's very helpful to know exactly what's gone on, because I do quite a lot of wash and line rig fishing, which if I was using my previous R3s, if I was getting a drop back, it would sound the same as a forward take. And sometimes in the night when you're just getting beeps and you haven't seen what's going on with your bobbin, you need to know, was that a forward take, was that a drop back? So when you get a drop back with these, it's very distinguishable. You know exactly what's going on, so you know if your line's going forwards or backwards, and that's become invaluable. As I said, I use a lot of wash and line setups, and as you can see from this bite, of course, it was in the day, so I saw it, but it was very obvious that the line had dropped back and wasn't going forward. So that's really, really helpful, especially if even in the day when you wander around your swim, when I'm doing bits of filming and I get a few beeps. If it was just a few beeps on my old R3s, I wouldn't have known if it was dropping back or pulling forwards, so I know exactly what's going on. So those are the main ones that I think are the biggest difference over the R3s, and why these have become such a mainstay in my items of tackle. And they're just something that's lasted so long. So the ones that I had before, which I've had for coming up to 2 years, as I said, these aren't the original R4s I had, but they never missed a beat. So I'd fish with them in scorching weather when we've occasionally got that in the summer. I've also fished with the minus temperatures when we're down to, I think the coldest I've fished with them was -7. Didn't really have any issues. I think it started to freeze up, but a little bit of a give in the wheel and things got going again, but that's some pretty extreme temperatures. And of course, pouring down rain, we get plenty of that in the UK, and they've never missed a beat. I've never come out to my alarms and they've not been working. So that's something that just gives you a lot of peace of mind that you're using a piece of kit that doesn't matter what the weather throws at you, whether it be in the UK or abroad, they will stand strong and do exactly what you need them to. Still give you indication, even in the harshest of conditions. Of course, you've still got other features like changing the LED color. I tend to have them all set on blue just because it's how I'm used to having my sirens. But if I wanted to change to red or yellow or things like that, I can do that if I wanted to. So that's pretty much the R4s in a nutshell. It's a long-term review, a bit of a waffle of me talking through why I think that these are, for me personally, the best alarms I've ever used. And I know I've pretty much stuck to only the siren alarms, but I can only talk by what I've used long term, and that has been siren alarms from pretty much when I first started fishing, and I've never had an alarm break on me. I still have my original S5s, which every now and then I turn that dial that turns them on, and it's just on and volume. They still work, and I think on the original batteries. And if they're still going strong now, these 15, 16 years later, I'm sure that these R4s will do exactly the same for me in the next 10 years. So if you want more information on the R4s, please do check out the plethora of different videos we've done on them before. As I just said, they are the best alarms I've used from Nash and probably on the market for a very long time. It's going to take something pretty special to knock these off their perch, in my opinion. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of the R4s, or what alarms you've got in the siren range, or if not, what you think are what rival them on the market, what your preferred alarms are. Let us know in the comment section below. But that's everything from me for now. I'm going to leave that bite cam on, and hopefully the outro sequence will be a bite from today. If not, it's going to end with me sat here right now, hoping that it has cut to that other B-roll, but clearly it hasn't because I'm still here. Oh well.